to always have stage fright until what? Then the last year or two. Now I can't stop. Okay. Ready? Special Memories of Gallatin by Joan Hodge. Late 30s, early 40s, moved to Gallatin from a community called Singtown near Portland. Started to school in what was called the primer. That was pre-first grade, like kindergarten. We lived on several streets in Gallatin. The first was East Jackson, just off North Water. It still looks somewhat like it did then. The next street was Morrison, out South Water. I remember it was just past a street called Winchester, out past what used to be where the health department was. We moved from Morrison Street to a house on North Water again, which still stands right across from the Nazarene Church now. There was a church there then, but I don't know what kind. But I only remember one church then. Now there's the Catholic Church across the street also. And then up the street on the left was another church that I dropped in on, but I don't know what it was. There is a church in that area now. I think it's a pre-Methodist. Up on the square were two movie theaters. I think one was the Roxy, and I think the other was the Palace. And I've since found out that's what they were. There were a couple of 5 and dime stores. I'm thinking Coons and Newberry's, if my memory serves me right. And I found out that's what they were. If I were lucky, I'd walk to town and buy some stuff at the dime stores. I probably had about a quarter at the most to spend. I'd buy hair ribbons, barrettes, pencils, colored pencils, and so forth. My mother worked at the old shoe factory on what is now East Main Street. Howard School was on what is now East Main Street also. Elizabeth Miller was my first grade teacher. Many, many years later, she was a Gallatin Junior High basketball girls coach. And my daughter's Portland Junior High basketball team, coached by Buddy Fry, played each other. Back to early years at Gallatin. My dad worked for the telephone company, and I have no idea what the title name of it was. He also worked at a grocery on the square, and I think it was called Hills, pretty close to where Attorneys Philip in England is today. There was also a beauty shop on the square. My mother's cousin, Christine Cook, worked there, plus some other hairdressers. Christine and a couple of others boarded with us for a while. My daddy loved to fish. I remember us going out on the Cumberland River to Coles Ferry, Lock Ford, and Cairo, and other fishing spots. This was before Old Hickory Lake was formed. That's about all of my very young recollections of Gallatin. As we moved to Indianapolis, Indiana, it was the tail end of the Depression. It was still a hard time for the American people, more so the people from the South, and that included my family. We moved to Indiana. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor December the 7th, 1941, and we now were at war with Japan. Not long from that, we were at war with Germany. This is another long story I could write about. But in Gallatin, I remember the ice camp up by the railroad track, going out Red River Road, also E.M. Stark's photography in the area just before the square. I remember it was upstairs. This I can remember, and it was this in 1949, because he made a picture for me to put in the national paper to announce my wedding for June the 10th, 1949. I also remember Charles C. Park's Wholesale Grocery Company. My daddy, Joe Story, 2 uncles, Lloyd Holmes and Bill Holmes, worked there. Uncle Lloyd worked there for a long, long time. At the beginning of this article, what was Gallatin like way back when? In the first paragraph, Josh Cross stated where one evening in the late 50s, 16-year-old, and I found out that the age is a little bit different there, old Foster Carter found himself watching as flames engulfed the Roxy Theater on the square in downtown Gallatin. Carter, now 73, had seen a movie earlier that night at the theater. He still remembers thinking not so much about the fate of the Roxy, but that of a neighboring ice cream parlor. Kid like, doesn't that seem natural? What impressed me not what Mr. Carter, now 75 years old, said, but his name, Foster Carter, as I have a little great-grandson who lives in Gallatin, now with his parents, Robert and Audrey Carter, and little brother Jude Allen Carter. This little guy's name is James Foster Carter. I also was friends with the Judge George Hamilton, I.C. McMahon, Miss Ellen Lambs, the proprietor of what now is the plantation, and so many others that are coming to mind. I'm so thankful for my memories of Gallatin. I'm sure more will come to mind. This started with the article in the News Examiner, Sunday, July the 20th edition, titled, "What Was Gallatin Like Way Back Then?" I didn't see the article until later about the Tuesdays with Marty Poland. I've also met Hammy Morin, who owns Gallatin Furniture, and Alan Haynes I have known for years and years. Alan is curator of the Sumner County Museum. I also remember the Downs family, the Worsham family, and others. I can see their faces, but I can't put their names to them. I do remember Uncle Eldridge Doss, as he was married to the sister of my grandfather, Cleveland Holmes, of a little community called Angeltown, close to a little community called Mount Vernon. I also knew Mr. Knox Doss, brother to Uncle Eldridge, who Knox School gets its name from. I can't believe all of this has come to my mind, but it is very clear, thanks to Marty Poland, who had a dream that she is fulfilling. I hope many people will write the recollections and the memories of a wonderful town, Gallatin, Tennessee. I was wondering where this is, where this was, what place this car dealership was.
Yeah, and they told me last week where that was, but I don't remember where they said.
Was Harold Hester's on down this way a little piece? It was in about 35 or 6. I remember my dad came down and had to leave the car, and we rode the train back to the port and come back get it. And I remember I got a cinder in my eye going through South Tunnel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But I'm not sure when it was on down here on this street or not.
I do not know. I remember Hibbett's used to have like a garage or something further down here on West Main.
This is West Main down this way.
Going that way,
And
West
this is
Main,
East Main.
and it's south, north, and then back east. And I do remember how